Hi, welcome to this tutorial video about setting up items to be printed by a professional printer. So this is different than if you're printing on an office photocopier or printing machine at home because they handle files differently. But when you send something off to be printed by a professional printer, what they will do is always overprint for the finished size of the document you require. So if you are going to have an A4 sheet printed, and that's what you're going to receive, the physical size of the product they print is slightly larger than that, and then they trim the edges off. Now they do this so that you can get the highest quality finish, but a lot of software doesn't deal with that very easily. So I'm going to show you how I set things up in Adobe Illustrator, which you may well not have, but the principles are the same. And elsewhere, I'll do some videos on how to set up bleed and margin spaces in the software which you might be using in your office or at home. So there's really only two things that you need to know about: margin and bleed. These two items are often the things which make or fail a print job in terms of the quality that you receive. The first is easy, the margin. Now I've just drawn on here a green box 3mm in from the edge of this document. This is an A4 document, but it could be any size document, and I've used a 3mm safe space. Now, to be even safer, you could use a 5mm space. And the reason for this is that if you imagine down the edges of your document, when it goes through a professional print press and it comes for being guillotined at the end of the print run, those cuts may not be perfect. They could be veering in or out of the edge space that you are expecting. So let me give you an example. I often receive people sending me items with text which go right up to the edge like this because people are trying to maximize the space that they have on the page. So if I just make this left justified, that might be more helpful. Get rid of those hyphens. So here's some text, just random text we filled in here. And if I go up to this green edge here, that will be fine. Just about. You don't really want to go right up to the edge because it doesn't look so good, but that should be fine. However, if I just turn off my margin box, there we go. So I've got a nice blank page. I might think that I can go all the way to this edge here, and that will be printed. What actually might happen is when the guillotine comes through, it could accidentally chop off the edge of these letters. So you're best off setting a nice safe area of 3mm in from the edge of the page. And that's true for the top and the bottom and each side. And then you know that your text or important items such as graphics, photos of people or places won't get chopped off. This is very common when people put something down at the bottom, such as websites and phone numbers, and they put them right to the bottom edge of the page. So wherever you're placing text or important information or images on the page, make sure you are within a safe distance of the outer edge. Now, bleed. So I've put up here, bleed is a 3mm area outside the physical page area, which is going to be chopped off. And you can see that on Illustrator here with this red box. So this red box isn't part of my printing or design that I've put together. This is a feature within Illustrator which shows me where the bleed is going to be. Now, why do we need to worry about this? Well, this matters when you're putting in things like graphics. Here's a boring black box. Let's pretend that we want to make a nice box to give it a bit of colour and shape. And again, you may go up to the edge of the page thinking that's your job done. But what can happen is that the guillotine can come down just past the outer edge of the page, and if this box is stopping where the physical page ends, what you'll end up with, if the guillotine misses slightly, is a white glaring edge down here. So to avoid that, all we do is we move any background items, graphics, photos, anything that you're filling the background area with, you make sure that it just overlaps out beyond the edge of the page. So here, if I wanted a circle, rather than an ellipse, just to create a bit of a shape. This is terrible design, by the way. What is better is to do this, is just to overlap it well beyond the outer edge. And then wherever the guillotine is going to cut, you're going to end up with a green edge, not a nasty glaring white bit. So if that was a photo going in there to give it a background image, then I would want to extend that photo out to this bleed space to make sure that wherever the guillotine cuts, it cuts through the image and it doesn't leave a white edge of unprinted paper. So that is bleed, the safe space beyond the edge of the page, and margin, the safe space within the edges of the page. Those two things are crucial, and I'll show you elsewhere how you can set those up in the software of your choice.